Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're heading east to dive into Canada's eastern provinces.
A region rich in history and culture.
And we're going to be using your research notes, aptly titled Eastern Canada Research Notes, to explore what makes these provinces so unique. We're talking Viking settlements,
The world's highest tides.
even a province known as Canada's ocean playground.
Each province has a distinct personality, shaped by indigenous cultures, European settlement, and that undeniable Atlantic spirit.
Oh, and did I mention a ceremony involving kissing a codfish?
It's a blend that makes the region so captivating.
Buckle up. Let's start in Quebec, a province practically synonymous with French culture, but it's more than just language, right?
Right, it's a distinct cultural identity, known as Québécois, a deep sense of pride in their heritage.
So to understand this, we have to go way back to 1608 when Samuel de Champlain founded Quebec City.
One of North America's oldest cities.
Then there's the Battle of the Plains of Abraham in 1759.
A turning point that shifted control to the British.
But French language and culture endured.
They even flourished.
It's fascinating how historical events shape cultural identity. And speaking of shaping identity, can we talk about the Quiet Revolution of the 1960s? It sounds like a period of huge change.
The Quiet Revolution was a period of profound societal transformation in Quebec. It was marked by modernization, secularization, and a push for greater autonomy. It was a time when Quebec redefined itself, solidifying that unique national identity we see today.
So we see echoes of this history in modern-day Quebec.
You've got Bill 101, enacted to protect the French language.
And vibrant festivals like the world-famous Carnaval de Quebec. From what I've read, the atmosphere there is electric.
The Carnaval de Quebec is more than just a festival. It's a celebration of Quebec's culture and resilience, especially in the face of harsh winters. And then there's the iconic Bonhomme Carnival, a symbol of joie de vivre that captures the spirit of the event.
It sounds incredible. You know, whenever I think of Quebec, I can't help but picture poutine. Is it as universally loved there as it seems?
Poutine is indeed a culinary icon in Quebec. It started as a humble dish, fries, cheese curds, and gravy. But it's evolved into an art form. You'll find gourmet variations with foie gras, lobster, and all sorts of creative toppings. It's almost a metaphor for Quebec's cultural evolution, taking something simple and elevating it to new heights.
So it's like a culinary representation of their cultural pride and ingenuity. That's fascinating. And we can't forget the music scene. Quebec has produced some global superstars, right?
Absolutely. Celine Dion and Leonard Cohen are household names, and there's a thriving indie scene with bands like Arcade Fire gaining international acclaim. It's a testament to Quebec's artistic spirit expressed in both French and English.
It seems like there's so much to uncover in Quebec. But for now, let's shift gears and venture into New Brunswick, Canada's only officially bilingual province.
Bilingualism is woven into the fabric of New Brunswick's identity. But to understand its nuances requires delving into a difficult historical chapter, the Great Expulsion or Le Grand Arrangement of the Acadians in the 18th century.
That sounds heartbreaking. The Acadians were forcibly removed from their land, weren't they? What impact did that have on New Brunswick's cultural landscape?
The impact was profound and long-lasting. Despite this tragedy, the Acadians held on to their language and traditions even in exile. Today, they celebrate their resilience and heritage with vibrant events like Acadian Day, where you'll find tintamars, joyous parades filled with music and noise.
Turning such a painful past into a celebration of resilience is truly remarkable. Now I have to ask, is it true that New Brunswick is a foodie's paradise? My research notes mention lobster and something called fiddleheads.
Ah, yes. Shediac, New Brunswick, proudly claims the title of lobster capital of the world, and with good reason. Their lobster is renowned for its sweetness and tenderness. And fiddleheads, well, those are young fern shoots, a unique delicacy with a taste reminiscent of asparagus and green beans. They're a true taste of spring.
I'm adding those to my culinary bucket list for sure. But before we get too caught up in the deliciousness, we have to talk about the Bay of Fundy. It's home to the highest tides in the world, right?
That's right. The Bay of Fundy is a natural wonder, with tides that rise and fall over 50 feet twice a day. Imagine that, witnessing a wall of water, that high surge in and out. It's a sight that has to be seen to be believed.
It sounds absolutely breathtaking. And those dramatic tides carve out some pretty incredible landscapes too, right? I'm thinking of those iconic Hopewell Rocks formations.
The Hopewell Rocks, also known as the Flower Pot Rocks, are a testament to the sheer power of those tides. They stand tall like sentinels on the shoreline, shaped and sculpted over millennia. But the Bay of Fundy is also a vital ecosystem, teeming with marine life, from whales to seabirds.
Whale watching in the Bay of Fundy sounds like an unforgettable experience. But let's keep moving south and set our sights on Nova Scotia, a province known as Canada's ocean playground. What makes it so special?
Nova Scotia embodies the spirit of the Atlantic, with its rugged coastline, maritime heritage, and a cultural tapestry woven from Mi'kmaq, Scottish, Acadian, and African Nova Scotian influences. It's a blend that's reflected in its music, its festivals, and its cuisine.
It sounds like a melting pot of cultures, each contributing to Nova Scotia's vibrant character. But I also noticed that Nova Scotia has a history marked by tragedy, particularly the Halifax explosion of 1917.
The Halifax explosion was a devastating event, one of the largest man-made explosions before the atomic bomb. It leveled a large part of the city and caused widespread destruction. Yet it also brought out an incredible sense of community and resilience as people came together to rebuild. This spirit of perseverance is woven into the very fabric of Nova Scotia.
That's a powerful testament to the human spirit. And speaking of powerful experiences, what about the connection to the Titanic? I remember reading that Halifax played a significant role in the aftermath of that disaster.
Halifax became the center of recovery efforts after the Titanic sank, with ships dispatched to recover bodies and personal effects. The city's Maritime Museum houses a collection of artifacts from the ship, serving as a poignant reminder of that tragic event. It's a somber but important part of Nova Scotia's history.
History can be both celebratory and heartbreaking, and it seems Nova Scotia embodies that duality. But let's shift gears to something a little more lighthearted. Your notes mention a unique dish called a donair. Tell me, what is it exactly?
The donair is Halifax's official food, a delicious fusion of flavors that reflects the city's multicultural influences. Imagine spiced meat shaved from a rotating spit, tucked into a fluffy pita bread, and drizzled with a sweet and garlicky sauce. It's a late-night staple and a true Halifax experience.
It sounds like the perfect comfort food. And I hear Nova Scotia has a vibrant music scene. What genres are popular there?
Nova Scotia's musical heritage is deeply rooted in Celtic traditions, with fiddles, bagpipes, and step dancing filling the air at festivals and gatherings, but it's also a place where traditional music blends with contemporary influences, creating a unique and vibrant soundscape.
So it's a blend of old and new, much like the province itself. And for those seeking picturesque landscapes, I imagine Peggy's Cove is a must-see, right?
Peggy's Cove, with its iconic lighthouse perched on rugged granite rocks, is a photographer's dream and a symbol of Nova Scotia's coastal beauty. But it's just one of many stunning spots along the province's coastline. From Lunenburg, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, to Cape Breton Island's Cabot Trail, there's no shortage of breathtaking scenery.
You've painted quite the picture. Now let's hop over to Prince Edward Island, affectionately known as the Garden of the Gulf. What makes this island province so enchanting?
Prince Edward Island is the quintessential maritime experience with rolling green hills, red sandstone cliffs, and pristine beaches. It's a place where time seems to move a little slower, and the pace of life is refreshingly tranquil.
It sounds idyllic, and of course we can't forget the literary connection. Anne of Green Gables has made Prince Edward Island a pilgrimage site for book lovers worldwide.
Lucy Maud Montgomery's classic novel has captured the hearts of readers for generations, and Prince Edward Island has embraced its Anne heritage. You can visit Green Gables Heritage Place, walk the Haunted Wood, and even attend a Sealet, a traditional gathering with music, storytelling, and dance.
It sounds like stepping into the pages of a beloved book. And speaking of history, wasn't Prince Edward Island also the birthplace of Confederation?
That's right. In 1864, delegates from across British North America gathered in Charlottetown for a conference that laid the groundwork for the creation of Canada. It's a little island with a big role in Canadian history.
It's amazing how such a small island played such a significant role in shaping a nation. And let's not forget the culinary delights. My notes mention Malpeque oysters and, of course, potatoes.
Malpeque oysters are renowned for their briny flavor and delicate texture, a true taste of the PEI coastline. And yes, potatoes are a staple crop on the island, celebrated in everything from hearty farm dinners to the giant potato sculpture that greets visitors at the Canadian Potato Museum.
You have to admire a place that celebrates its potatoes with such enthusiasm. But for now, let's bid farewell to Prince Edward Island and head to our final destination, the province of Newfoundland and Labrador.
Newfoundland and Labrador is a place unlike any other, with a rugged coastline, a rich history, and a culture steeped in storytelling and music. It's a place where you can feel the echoes of Vikings, encounter icebergs, and experience a warmth and hospitality that's legendary.
It sounds like a place that's both ancient and modern, rugged and welcoming. What stands out to you as particularly unique about Newfoundland and Labrador?
The people, without a doubt. Newfoundlanders are known for their storytelling. their humor, and their resilience. They have a way with words that can make you laugh one minute and bring a tear to your eye the next. Their stories are woven into the fabric of their culture, passed down through generations, and shared with a warmth and authenticity that's captivating.
I can already sense that strong sense of community and tradition. And speaking of traditions, we have to address the elephant, or rather the codfish in the room. What's the story behind the screech-in ceremony involving kissing a codfish?
The screech-in is a fun and quirky Newfoundland tradition, a lighthearted way for visitors to become honorary Newfoundlanders. It involves kissing a codfish, affectionately known as a fish, taking a shot of Newfoundland screech rum, and reciting a short local phrase.
It certainly sounds like an experience. Is there any deeper meaning behind this ritual, or is it just a bit of fun?
It's mostly about embracing the Newfoundland spirit of hospitality and having a good laugh. It's a way for visitors to connect with the local culture and create a lasting memory.
I can definitely see the appeal in that. But let's dive into some of the more serious aspects of Newfoundland and Labrador's history. My notes mention the Vikings and the cod fishery collapse. Can you elaborate on those?
Newfoundland and Labrador has a long and fascinating history dating back to the Vikings, who established a settlement at Lanceau Meadows over 1,000 years ago. This is the first known European settlement in North America, a testament to the adventurous spirit of these early explorers.
That's incredible to think that Vikings walked to this land centuries before Columbus even set sail. But then there's the cod fishery collapse, a much more recent and somber chapter in Newfoundland and Labrador's history.
The cod fishery collapse of the 1990s was a devastating blow to Newfoundland and Labrador, both economically and culturally. The cod fishery had been the backbone of the province's economy for centuries, and its collapse had a profound impact on communities across the region.
It must have been a difficult time for many families. How did Newfoundland and Labrador cope with such a significant loss?
They faced this challenge with incredible resilience and determination. The people of Newfoundland and Labrador are known for their strong sense of community, and they rallied together to support each other during this difficult time. They also began to diversify their economy, exploring new industries and opportunities. It wasn't easy, but they persevered, proving their adaptability and unwavering spirit.
That's truly inspiring. Their story is a reminder that even in the face of adversity, there's always hope and the potential for renewal. And speaking of hope, I want to touch on a more uplifting aspect of Newfoundland and Labrador's recent history: the heartwarming story of Gander's response to the 9/11 attacks.
The story of Gander is a testament to the extraordinary kindness and compassion of the people of Newfoundland and Labrador. When planes were grounded following the 9/11 attacks, the small town of Gander welcomed thousands of stranded passengers with open arms, providing them with food, shelter, and a sense of community during a time of immense uncertainty and fear.
It's a story that restores your faith in humanity, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there's light to be found in the kindness of strangers. And it's a perfect example of how Newfoundland and Labrador, despite its remoteness, is connected to the wider world in profound ways.
You're right. Newfoundland and Labrador may be geographically isolated, but its people have a global outlook, a sense of interconnectedness that stems from their history of seafaring and exploration. They've always been open to the world, and that's reflected in their culture, their music, and their warm embrace of visitors.
Well, we've certainly covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive into Eastern Canada. It's clear that each province has its own unique story to tell, from the bustling streets of Montreal to the windswept shores of Newfoundland.
We've just scratched the surface, but I hope we've sparked your curiosity and given you a taste of the incredible diversity and richness that these provinces have to offer.
Absolutely. We've explored history, culture, food, and even a ceremony involving kissing a codfish. It's been quite the adventure so far.
And there's so much more to uncover. In the next part of our deep dive, we'll delve into some fascinating details and hidden gems that make each province truly special. Stay tuned.
We're back and ready to plunge even deeper into the heart of Eastern Canada. It's amazing how much we've already discovered, but I feel like we've only just begun to uncover the treasures that await.
I agree. Each province is like a multi-layered tapestry, with threads of history, culture, and natural beauty interwoven to create something truly remarkable.
Speaking of treasures, let's revisit Quebec for a moment. We talked about its culinary scene, but I think poutine deserves a dedicated spotlight. It's become such an iconic dish representing more than just food.
You're right. Poutine has transcended its humble origins to become a cultural symbol of Quebec's ingenuity and playful approach to cuisine. What's fascinating is how it's evolved, from a simple dish of fries, cheese curds, and gravy into a culinary canvas for endless creativity.
I've heard of variations with lobster foie gras, even pulled pork. It seems like there are no limits to what you can put on poutine.
Exactly. And that spirit of culinary innovation is something you'll find throughout Quebec's food scene. They're not afraid to experiment with flavors and ingredients, blending traditional techniques with modern twists.
And speaking of blending tradition and modernity, we can't forget about the Carnival de Quebec. I'm still captivated by the idea of Bonhomme Carnival, that giant snowman mascot who seems to embody the spirit of the festival.
Bonhomme Carnival is more than just a mascot. He's a symbol of Quebec's resilience and joie de vivre, especially during the long winter months. He represents the ability to find joy and celebration, even in the face of adversity.
It's a reminder that sometimes a little bit of lighthearted fun is exactly what we need to lift our spirits. But beneath the festive atmosphere, Quebec City also holds a deep historical significance, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The city's history is palpable, from the cobblestone streets of Old Quebec to the fortifications that encircle it. And of course, the Battle of the Plains of Abraham, which we discussed earlier, took place right here, marking a turning point in Canadian history.
It's amazing to think that we're discussing events that shaped the course of a nation. It gives you a whole new perspective on a place. But after all that history, I'm craving something sweet. What about those maple syrup traditions you mentioned? I'm envisioning a cozy sugar shack, fluffy pancakes, and maple taffy on snow.
Ah, the Sugar Shack experience. It's a quintessential springtime tradition in Quebec, and a delightful way to connect with nature and indulge in some sweet treats. But it's more than just about the food. It's a celebration of the maple harvest, a tradition that dates back centuries.
It sounds like a perfect blend of history, culture, and culinary delights. Now let's shift our focus back to New Brunswick. I'm dying to hear more about the Hopewell Rocks, those incredible flower pot-shaped formations carved by the Bay of Fundy's powerful tides.
The Hopewell Rocks are a testament to the relentless power of nature sculpted over millennia by the highest tides in the world. At high tide, they stand as islands in the bay. But as the water recedes, you can walk on the ocean floor and explore the formations up close. It's a truly surreal experience.
It sounds absolutely breathtaking. And speaking of the Bay of Fundy, you mentioned its diverse ecosystem. What kind of marine life can you find there?
The Bay Fundy is a haven for marine life, attracting a variety of whales, dolphins, porpoises, and seabirds. It's a prime spot for whale watching with humpback whales, fin whales, and even the endangered North Atlantic right whale making appearances. The bay's nutrient-rich waters support a thriving ecosystem that's crucial to the region's biodiversity.
It sounds like a nature lover's paradise. But let's not forget about the food. We've talked about poutine, maple syrup, and lobster, but now I'm craving something uniquely Nova Scotian. What culinary treasures does this province have to offer?
Nova Scotia's culinary heritage is as diverse as its cultural tapestry. Blending Mi'kmaq, Acadian, and Scottish influences, you've got hearty seafood chowders, rabie pie, a traditional Acadian dish made with grated potatoes, and salmongundy, a pickled herring pâté that's surprisingly delicious. And of course, we can't forget about the donair, Halifax's official food.
I'm starting to see a theme here. Eastern Canada seems to be a haven for foodies. And speaking of cultural influences, what about Nova Scotia's music scene? I'm imagining lively Celtic tunes and foot-stomping rhythms.
You're right on the mark. Nova Scotia's music scene is deeply rooted in Celtic traditions, with fiddles, bagpipes, and step dancing filling the air at pubs, festivals, and community gatherings. But it's also a place where tradition meets innovation with contemporary artists, blending Celtic influences with folk, rock, and pop to create a unique and vibrant soundscape.
So it's a melting pot of musical styles, much like the province itself. And for those seeking stunning landscapes, I imagine Peggy's Cove is a must-see, right?
Peggy's Cove, with its iconic lighthouse perched precariously on wave-battered granite rocks, is a quintessential Nova Scotian image, capturing the raw beauty and untamed spirit of the province's coastline. But it's just one of many picturesque spots along Nova Scotia's shores. From Lunenburg, a UNESCO World Heritage Site with colorful waterfront buildings and a rich seafaring history, to Cape Breton Island's Cabot Trail, a scenic roadway that winds its way through breathtaking landscapes of mountains, forests, and coastal cliffs. There's no shortage of visual feasts to be had.
You're making me want to book a trip right now. Now let's step back in time and revisit Prince Edward Island. We talked about its literary connection to Anne of Green Gables, but wasn't it also a pivotal location in the story of Canada's Confederation?
You're absolutely right. In 1864, delegates from across British North America gathered in Charlottetown for a conference that laid the groundwork for the creation of Canada. It's remarkable to think that this seemingly idyllic island province played such a crucial role in shaping a nation. It's a testament to the vision and collaboration of those early leaders who recognized the potential for unity and strength in joining forces.
It's incredible how a place can hold so much historical weight while still exuding a sense of tranquility and charm. And speaking of charm, we can't forget about Prince Edward Island's culinary delights. Those Malpeque oysters and, of course, those world-famous potatoes.
Melpeak oysters are a true delicacy, prized for their briny flavor and plump texture, a taste of the pristine waters that surround Prince Edward Island. And the potatoes, well, they're practically legendary. They're the heart and soul of many island dishes, from hearty stews to fluffy pancakes. And let's not forget about the Canadian Potato Museum, a quirky and informative tribute to the humble spud.
I love that they have a museum dedicated to potatoes. It speaks to the island's agricultural heritage and the pride they take in their local produce. But for now, let's bid farewell to Prince Edward Island's charming shores and venture back to Newfoundland and Labrador, a province that seems to exist in a realm of its own.
Newfoundland and Labrador is a place of dramatic contrasts, where rugged coastlines meet ancient forests, where towering icebergs drift past fishing villages, and where the echoes of Vikings mingle with the sounds of traditional music. It's a place that captures the imagination and stirs the soul.
It sounds like a place where history, nature, and culture collide to create something truly unique. What aspects of Newfoundland and Labrador's identity stand out to you the most?
The people, without a doubt. Newfoundlanders have a spirit that's as resilient as the rugged landscapes they inhabit. They're known for their warmth, their humor, and their storytelling abilities, which are deeply ingrained in their culture. They have a way of spinning yarns that can make you laugh one minute and touch your heart the next.
I can already sense that strong sense of community and the importance of oral traditions in preserving their heritage. And speaking of traditions, we can't avoid the elephant, or rather the codfish, in the room any longer. Tell me more about this screeching ceremony that involves kissing a codfish. It sounds both intriguing and a little daunting.
The Screechin' is a lighthearted Newfoundland tradition, a way for visitors to embrace the local culture and become honorary Newfoundlanders. It involves kissing a codfish, affectionately referred to as a fish, taking a shot of Newfoundland screech rum, a potent local spirit, and reciting a short, often humorous local phrase.
It definitely sounds like a memorable experience, but is there any deeper meaning behind this ritual, or is it purely for entertainment?
It's mostly about embracing the Newfoundland spirit of hospitality and having a good laugh. It's a way for visitors to connect with the local culture on a personal level and create a lasting memory. It's also a testament to Newfoundlanders' playful nature and their ability to find humor in everyday life.
I appreciate that they don't take themselves too seriously, but let's delve into some of the more serious aspects of Newfoundland and Labrador's history. My notes mention the Vikings and the cod fishery collapse. Can you elaborate on those?
Newfoundland and Labrador's history is a tapestry woven with threads of exploration, resilience, and adaptation. The Vikings established a settlement at Lanceau Meadows over 1,000 years ago, marking the first known European presence in North America. It's a reminder of the adventurous spirit that has always been a part of Newfoundland and Labrador's identity.
It's incredible to think that Vikings walked this land centuries before Columbus even set sail. It speaks to the province's ancient roots and its connection to the wider world. But then there's the cod fishery collapse, a much more recent and somber chapter in Newfoundland and Labrador's history.
The cod fishery collapse of the 1990s was a devastating blow to Newfoundland and Labrador, both economically and culturally. The cod fishery had been the backbone of the province's economy for centuries, and its sudden collapse had a profound impact on communities across the region.
It must have been a difficult time for many families who relied on the fishery for their livelihood. How did Newfoundland and Labrador cope with such a significant loss?
They faced this challenge with incredible resilience and determination. The people of Newfoundland and Labrador are known for their strong sense of community, and they rallied together to support each other during this difficult time. They also began to diversify their economy, exploring new industries and opportunities. It wasn't an easy transition, but they persevered, proving their adaptability and unwavering spirit.
Their story is a powerful reminder that even in the face of adversity, there's always hope and the potential for renewal. And speaking of hope, I want to touch on a more uplifting aspect of Newfoundland and Labrador's recent history, the heartwarming story of Gander's response to the 9/11 attacks.
The story of Gander is a testament to the extraordinary kindness and compassion of the people of Newfoundland and Labrador. When planes were grounded following the 9/11 attacks, the small town of Gander welcomed thousands of stranded passengers with open arms, providing them with food, shelter, and a sense of community during a time of immense uncertainty and fear.
It's a story that restores your faith in humanity, A reminder that even in the darkest of times, there's light to be found in the kindness of strangers. And it's a perfect example of how Newfoundland and Labrador, despite its remoteness, is connected to the wider world in profound ways.
You're right. Newfoundland and Labrador may be geographically isolated, but its people have a global outlook, a sense of interconnectedness that stems from their history of seafaring and exploration. They've always been open to the world, and that's reflected in their culture, their music, and their warm embrace of visitors.
Well, we've certainly covered a lot of ground in this second part of our deep dive into Eastern Canada. We've savored culinary delights, explored natural wonders, and delved into the heart of what makes each province so unique.
It's been a fascinating journey, and I think what strikes me most is the spirit of resilience and community that runs through all these provinces. They've faced challenges, embraced change, and held onto their traditions, creating a tapestry of cultures that's both vibrant and enduring.
Absolutely. From the bustling streets of Montreal to the rugged shores of Newfoundland, Eastern Canada has revealed itself to be a land of contrasts, where history, nature, and culture intertwine to create an experience that's both captivating and unforgettable.
And we're not done yet. In the final part of our deep dive, we'll reflect on some of the key themes and insights that have emerged from our exploration, leaving you with some thought-provoking ideas to ponder as you continue your journey into the heart of Eastern Canada.
We've journeyed from the cobblestone streets of old Quebec City all the way to the windswept shores of Newfoundland. We've savored poutine and listened to some lively fiddle tunes.
We even considered puckering up to a codfish.
Yeah, we did. So as we wrap up this deep dive into Eastern Canada, what stands out to you?
You know, I keep thinking about the common threads that connect these provinces, like the resilience. They've faced so many challenges, but always come out stronger, more united.
Yeah, it's true. We saw that with the Acadians rebuilding their lives and culture after the Great Expulsion.
And with Newfoundlanders adapting to the cod fishery collapse.
And Quebec's commitment to preserving its French heritage, it's like facing adversity head on, is a part of Eastern Canada's DNA.
And they don't just overcome these challenges, they find ways to thrive. They celebrate their past and build a future that honors it. And a lot of that comes from their connection to the land and the sea.
You're right. Think about Quebec's maple sugar shacks or Nova Scotia's fishing villages.
Or Prince Edward Island's fertile farmlands.
Yeah, there's a real sense of place, a connection to nature that shapes who they are.
It definitely fosters a strong sense of community.
And that sense of community is everywhere. A
Right.
sea lid on Prince Edward Island, a kitchen party in Newfoundland, a Tintamar in New Brunswick. There's this warmth, a generosity that you can feel in their gatherings and traditions.
It's like sharing stories and music and laughter is just a way of life there. It's how they connect with each other and pass down their heritage.
It really is. So as our listeners continue their exploration of Eastern Canada, what should they keep in mind?
Well, I'd encourage them to think about how the landscape shapes the culture, how those communities balance tradition with modernity, what stories really resonate with them.
Those are great questions. It's like we've provided the map, but the real journey starts when you immerse yourself in the experience.
Exactly. So embrace the unexpected, enjoy the local food, let yourself be captivated by the people and the places. You might even find yourself doing a screech-in before you know it.
Hey, I wouldn't rule it out. This deep dive has definitely sparked my wanderlust. Eastern Canada is calling my name.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the world around you. There's always something new to discover, and Eastern Canada is brimming with experiences just waiting to be found.
Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey through Canada's eastern provinces. We'll see you on our next deep dive.